Some houses are like people. They seem to leak bad energy. They look perfectly ordinary, the same windows, the same balcony, but the moment you step inside, you can't help thinking there's something strange here. A lingering sense of dread creeps in, making the hairs on your neck stand on end and your blood run cold for no apparent reason. The house on the corner of the square was no exception. From the outside, it appeared unremarkable, but inside, the silence was louder than any sound. The property was infamous for a mysterious death and had remained abandoned for 10 years ever since. My friend G was fascinated by the place. She loved ghost stories and thought about them whenever she had the chance. I, on the other hand, didn't believe in such things at all. It was an October evening. The sky had darkened as we walked home from college and past the house. As usual, G stopped and stared at it. I wasn't paying much attention when she suddenly grabbed my hand and whispered, "Oh look, the door is unlocked." I was startled. For as long as I could remember, the door had been sealed with a heavy lock. But now it stood slightly open, the lock nowhere in sight. I suggested that maybe someone had bought the house despite the rumors. But there were no cars, no motorbikes, and no signs of new occupants. G, however, saw this as an opportunity. A chance to finally see the haunted house from the inside and have a real experience. I wasn't happy about it, but I agreed to accompany her, thinking that her curiosity would fade after a quick look inside. G slowly pushed the door open. It creaked loudly, just like in a horror movie. The interior was dim, with pale light struggling in through the bare windows. What surprised me most was the cold, far colder than it was outside. We turned on our phone flashlights. Dust coated everything. The old furniture sat exactly as it had been left, confirming that no one had entered the house in years. Darkness, dust, cold air, and a musty smell filled the space. Despite being abandoned for a decade, the house hadn't deteriorated as much as I had expected. I was satisfied after seeing just one room, but G wasn't. She insisted on going upstairs. I blame her father for this. He filled her head with ghost stories and even claimed that ghosts could grant wishes. Reluctantly, I followed her up the stairs. The wood must have been unusually strong. Not a single step made a sound. The silence was deeply unsettling. We reached the second floor, which was even colder than the one below. There were 4 rooms. The door to the first was slightly ajar. G pushed it open slowly. A freezing breeze swept over us, so cold that the hair on my arms stood on end. The room was sealed, the windows closed. So, where had the wind come from? That was enough. I grabbed G's hand and ran down the stairs. Another reason we ran, the stairs that had been silent until now suddenly began to creak, and it felt as if another set of footsteps was matching ours. G didn't hesitate. We burst out of the house and kept running. Behind us, the main door slammed shut with a thunderous bang. We slowed down only when our own houses came into view. Though the air wasn't hot, sweat streamed down our faces. Once we had calmed down, we walked the rest of the way in silence. Then G spoke quietly. "I saw a vague figure in that room, just before the wind touched us." "Enough," I said, my voice unsteady. "Don't talk about it again." After that day, I began to believe in ghosts, and G's fascination with them slowly faded. Before she could ever wish for something from them, she realized the more important question, whether she would even survive standing in front of one.